This story just happened and I don't even know how it's legal. It's insane. It's called Karen Manager Made Me Stand Inside the Freezer as Punishment. Was this legal? Posted by ThrowRA 10/27/10. A few months ago in June, I started my job. It's a fast food restaurant, but it's also my first job. I'm 19 female in the state of Florida. I'm going to say the name of the company is Arby's, but not the specific store. On August 24th, 2023, I was working 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. that day, and somebody asked me to stay late 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. I received 2 30-minute breaks for each shift. I was talking with another shift manager who asked if I'll be okay and comfortable. I said that I'm fine, I'm just tired and slow. Assistant manager, 58 female, hears this and asked me to follow her into the freezer and made me stand there as she screamed at me, saying that she disliked lazy, annoying employees like me that complain and whine about the job. She said she's a widow living by herself that only makes $15 an hour and that she's tired too, but doesn't complain. Then states that it's unfair nobody asked her permission for an extra worker ruining her plans and labor. Then also states that corporate's been up her butt and she's always getting in trouble because of the troublesome new hires. Fast forward after the conversation, she told me to stay where I was standing and think about if I want to work or not, and she will come back to check on me. I'm not sure how long I was in there because she confiscated my cell phone after she left the freezer. The work uniform is a t-shirt plus back pants and apron, so it was very cold. A different manager, 20 male, found me as he came inside to get a box and asked what the heck I was doing. I told him it was cold and I felt tired, so I sat down and closed my eyes. He told me not to put up with assistant manager's crap and helped me outside and gave me a jacket and a hot drink. I sat at the desk trying to feel better before I went back to work. Apparently, she clocked me out the time I was in the freezer, so I wasn't even paid for that. I did as I was told, but shift manager 20 male said that he ended up arguing with her about mistreating me and the previous employees who all quit. On August 8th, she yelled at a girl, 16, for making the wrong sandwich, who went to the bathroom to cry and called her mom. The girl quit, but HR has so much evidence on her. Side note, there was a big store meeting in May 2022 before I started working there. I heard from the other managers that the higher-ups yelled at her and wrote her up for mistreating employees. They stated that HR did a big investigation and gave her a warning and a mandatory ethics course. I immediately called HR after the freezer incident, and there are cameras and witnesses that day. There has been a week-long investigation and meetings. Due to Hurricane Idalia and Labor Day, it's been a little delayed. HR said that they reprimanded her and would be giving me a $50 bonus compensation. I was wondering if what happened to me was ethical. I have a hopeful feeling that all the previous string of incidents and all the former complaints filed against the assistant manager are helping HR and corporate see that what she's doing is not good. I also have not signed anything or agreed to anything. There have been separate meetings without me, and 2 meetings I have went to at work was one with the general manager, assistant manager, and the district supervisor and the area supervisor. The second meeting was with the higher-ups, corporate, and HR. I have taken the guidance of what people have told me to hopefully make a chance at this workplace, including a better work environment. For people asking why I just didn't leave or why I put up with this, I don't know really what to do, and I had a lot of exhaustion from working the first shift. I also heard a lot of things about her and the incidents where people have made complaints to her because she yells at them or treats them bad. This was my first job because many others, Chipotle, Panera Bread, Target, and etc., didn't hire me. Also, assistant manager has been working for 23 years now, although she gets transferred around every few years. Not sure if it's complaint related. She has been at this exact store for 3 years now. I'm told that her work ethic has always been like this. I don't know her too well as she is night shift manager, so I only see her if I happen to work nights. I do not. I'm a college student who prefers working mostly 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. 2 to 3 days a week. I need money to pay for college and bills. We've had one big store-wide meeting where everybody, 16 workers at the time, had to come and sit down to talk about treating employees with respect. Now, the phone confiscation thing is legitimate and allowed by the company and store. Many other people have had their phones confiscated. After I left the freezer and clocked back in, she confiscated this other college guy team member's cell phone and put it in a safe. I'm not sure if it can help me in any way, but I did mention it to the higher-ups in corporate. Do you agree with this comment? Talk to a lawyer, but also don't let people treat you this way. The Arby's Corporation in all likelihood will terminate that manager and probably offer you a nuisance settlement like $2,500 if you sign a release. You'll give half of that to your lawyer. Far more valuable is the lesson you've learned. Walk out of the freezer next time. Know your worth. No worker in this country deserves that kind of treatment, and we have laws to ensure that no worker has to tolerate it. Well, this just sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen, doesn't it? I mean, I wouldn't want to take a tiny little, oh, here, just take this money and run kind of thing when half of it's going to a lawyer. This is crazy. I mean, what do you think about this? Now, these next two stories are by the same OP, and they're kind of connected, so get ready for this. You want my dog? Posted by ULFR. Well, I think it's fairly safe to assume that I've lost a couple of friends over this, but it wasn't me what did it. This weekend, a friend of mine asked me to keep an eye on her two kids while she and her hubby went away for the weekend for some couple time. Her mother was initially going to watch the kids, but that fell through on short notice. She called me at 3 p.m. on a Friday to come over in 3 hours. My friend knew that I probably wasn't doing anything, which was both hurtful and accurate. I said, sure. She's got two kids, a girl who is 8 and a boy who is 5. They're good kids, for the most part. The boy has a little bit of a snitching problem and the girl has a sharing problem, but it's 2 days. So I show up Friday after work while my friend gives me the rundown and her husband tells the kids that he will beat them with their sibling if they're bad. The kids were unimpressed. The parents leave and it's just me and the kids in the house, and it's immediate pandemonium. The brother snitches on his sister for taking an extra cookie. The sister cries to me that her brother touched her Switch, and I make the executive decision that they've got too much energy, and if they're tuckered out, they'll hopefully chill. So I asked the kids to track down bathing suits because we're going to my gym, which has a pool and a guest policy. I did let Mom know what we were up to before we left, and I asked if it was okay if I brought my dog over. He doesn't shed and is house trained. She said that was fine. Operation Pool was a great success, though the locker room got a bit dicey. That's a whole other story coming up in a minute. Once everyone was appropriately tired, including me, we made a pit stop on the way back to their house to grab my pooch. He's extremely well behaved and loves kids, and both kids were immediately all about the Dexter, and the Dexter was all about the kids. Ground rules: no pulling on his fur, and he goes where he wants. Kids kind of struggle with the notion that a dog is not a toy. I obviously kept him out of places where he wasn't supposed to go, but I'm a grown-up, allegedly. Miraculously, after the swim and chasing the dog around the house left the kids too pooped to pop, and both fell asleep watching a Disney film on the TV. After the movie, I woke the kids up to trot off to bed, and I didn't make them brush their teeth. For the record, the son did indeed yeet me under a bus when Mommy called in the morning. I told the kiddos that if they left their doors open, Dexter might sneak in and give them cuddles. I increased the likelihood of this by sleeping on the couch and not leaving him a spot. He expressed his displeasure with me by flouncing off and going into the boys' room to sleep. Great success. Saturday, we went for a hike in the morning, had a nap, and then played ball with the dog and generally had a pretty chill day. Diffused the sharing issue by explaining to the girl that the pup has feelings and wants just like any person, and she can't control him that way. She appeared thoughtful, and then immediately started yelling at her brother for hogging the dog again. At least she wasn't mad at the dog. I successfully heated up the casserole Mom had left me for dinner following her carefully laid out instructions, admonished the kids to not give him people food, and was soundly ignored. I did draw the line at a couple morsels from each kid and put my foot down. More than that, and he's gonna get the runs, and nobody wants that. That night, I made sure Sis got a turn by again hogging the couch and also closing the boy's door, since he got a turn already. The girl was smug. The boy made me call his mom. Mom wasn't happy that my dog was in her kids' beds. I reminded her that he doesn't shed and can't smell worse than the kids, and her daughter might burn the house down with us inside if she doesn't get a turn. Mom accepted defeat. Saturday night was again relatively peaceful, though toothbrushing did happen. Early Sunday morning, I got woken up by having my dog step on my junk, which is a thing he's really good at, and he was mad at me for not leaving any room. I made room. Apparently, the girl tried to do something he didn't like and he noped out of there. She wasn't happy about that, but was appeased by my pain enough to go back to bed. This morning was relatively chill, some more playing with the dog and some more team tug of war, and Mom and Dad got back around lunchtime and thanked me for keeping their kids in one piece. The kids said bye to the pup, and there were tears, and I loaded myself and my dog and went back to home to enjoy the relative peace and quiet. Yeah, I wish that it ended there. Maybe an hour after we got home, I get a phone call from a very frazzled sounding mom with the kids crying in the background. She says they need my dog now. I'm sorry, what? You don't need a dog, you need my dog? Well, like I don't need to come back and visit soon, you just want him? Well, the kids got so attached and they won't stop crying about missing the dog, and her husband don't have time for 2 kids and a puppy and more guilt-inducing word vomit that was having precisely 0 effect on me. Abso-fluffing-lutely not. Click. Still getting text about being reasonable and you have time to train a new dog. 48 hours of free babysitting isn't enough? You want my dog too? Not in this lifetime. Update. The parents offered to pay me for my time over the weekend, but the rate for 2 full days of childcare was kind of a lot. They don't have a lot of disposable income. It was an emergency and I had nothing better to do with my time, so I told them not to sweat it. My pup is chipped and is still sleeping off his big weekend, but he's going nowhere solo and I do have cameras up. I also texted my friend's husband asking him what the heck happened and why does his wife want my dog this morning. He replied back with a lot of question mark, genuinely hoping sanity breaks out and we can move past this, but ain't nobody is pup napping my dog. Also, for those curious about the story of what happened at my gym's locker room, that's coming up next. This is a family locker room for families, posted by ULFR. To recap, I was placed in possession of a pair of kids, 8 female and 5 male, on a turbo short notice over the weekend. On Friday, as soon as the parents left, pandemonium reigned, and I knew I'd need to get the energy out of the kids or I'd be dead by Sunday. So I had them collect bathing suits and we all went to my gym, which has a guest policy and a pool. I got the kids signed in as my guests for the evening and asked a bit uncomfortably what the correct thing to do would be, given I was in charge of a boy and a girl. The girl at the front desk laughed a little at me and said that the family locker rooms were down the same hallway as the women's locker rooms. Oh, it felt very, very odd walking down the forbidden hallway, but true to her word, there were 2 big doors, one that said families and one that said women. The boy kid really wanted to wander into the women's locker room, which got vetoed almost immediately. We get in there, and there's stalls inside for changing, basically a closet with a changing room door on it. Me being hyper aware that anything going even slightly wrong in relation to someone else's naked child is a very, very bad place for misunderstandings, I decided that we'd take turns. The girl would go first, get out of her clothes, change into her suit, and then come hang with me while her brother did the same. And then, when it was my turn, I'd best be seeing 2 pairs of ankles under the door the whole time, or someone's getting left in the locker room hung by their bathing suit. Happily enough, nothing went wrong. On our end, anyway. Unfortunately, while the girl was changing, a mom and her son came into the family locker room and looked confused. "Why are you and your son just standing there?" says she. "Oh, I'm just watching the kids and his sister's changing. They're not my children. I figured this was the safest for everyone," says I, thinking, oh gosh, no, please, it's Friday. She rears back in shock, raises her voice. "They're not your children, right?" "Nope, I just borrowed them so their mom could get some alone time with Dad." At this point, the little dude is hiding behind me and the clothing rustling from the little girl has stopped. "Ma'am, I'm just trying to get them changed and into the pool. I can't take a little girl into the men's locker room," says I, thinking I'm not precisely comfortable in there and I can't imagine it would go well with a little girl. "This is a family locker room for families, not for babysitters, and who thought you were mature enough to watch 2 kids on their own? I'm getting you removed," says she, and then yanks her child out behind her to go yell at someone else at the front desk. The boy tugged on my pants and looked up at me. I think that lady is crazy. I looked down at the little dude and nodded, but made a shh sound and told the girl to get changed pronto. The woman didn't come back in, and the kids didn't wander off while I was getting changed. We had a great time in the pool, and I didn't see the kid or his mom while we were in the pool or after. Don't know what happened. There was a different desk attendant when we left. How would you handle this insane Karen literally calls the cops on OP? This is called evict me without cause and only give me till midnight to be out. No problem. Posted by Sean NJ222. So once upon a time, I was living in a not legal basement apartment of an old Hungarian woman's house. I was poor. The place was cheaper than what was around, so I took it. How bad could it be? She was horrific. At first, she was an okay landlady, but then things started to turn. First, I noticed that things were off when I got home from work. Ever get that feeling that someone was in your room? Yeah, that. So I asked her if she'd been in there, and she denied it. Then I set up a camera, and I caught her on camera. I asked her again, and she denied it, saying that she's never gone into my apartment without telling me. And then I showed her the video, and she got mad at me. I work nights. One time, she came in during the daytime, and I was there, in bed, naked under the sheets. So I woke up when she came in and asked if I could help her, and she said no and left. After that, she would call me lazy boy when she saw me, assuming I didn't work since it was at night. Things kept getting worse. She'd sometimes shut off the water when she thought I was using too much, or when I refused to share my Wi-Fi password with her other tenant. Finally, one night I had some friends over for a birthday. There were 6 of us total, and it was around 11 p.m., and trust me when I say, we were not being loud at all. Literally, just hanging around the coffee table eating cheesecake, talking and laughing. She came into my apartment, started yelling that I was having a loud party with too many people in the middle of the night. She actually came and grabbed my shirt, telling me everyone had to leave. Oh heck no, that was it. So I pushed her off of me and the police were called. That Monday, she left a really poorly written eviction notice on my door. Seriously, handwritten, telling me to be out by Saturday by midnight. Here's the malicious compliance. By 11:59 p.m. that Saturday, I had all my stuff in the U-Haul. My friends and I were just working on bagging up the trash and the other stuff for the dump when she came in and yelled at me that it was past midnight. No problem. I got up and I left, leaving a huge pile of junk in the bedroom and the storage room, easily 2 pickup trucks worth of crap that I wasn't taking. She actually called my father, who was my emergency contact on my application, to tell me that it cost her $400 to haul it all away and that I owed her money. He blocked the number. An update. She was showing the apartment when I was still living there. She didn't tell me. So when she let 2 strangers in the daytime, waking me up again, I stood up, fully naked, full staffed, and said that I wouldn't rent from her if it were the last apartment in town. The couple quickly left. This Karen gets exposed in front of the whole neighborhood. She's actually an HOA president too. This one's posted by Odin Chapeau. Let's see how. So this story takes place a few days ago. I live in an apartment and I was cleaning the cave with my father. There, I found a big box with all of my old toy cars. All of them look pristine, and there are some that honestly look very good. So I say to myself, hey, those toys seem to work. Maybe I can give them to the kids that live nearby. So I take the box upstairs and I put a message saying that I am giving them away. After maybe 2 minutes, I have an answer from a mom that we are going to name Karen B. She says that she's interested and that if I want, I can get them to her or she will send her son to pick up the box. In my extreme kindness, I say that I will deliver. Then she gave me her address, saying that her son is at her home. And then I noticed. They are the neighbor next door, and she does have a kid, but they're something like 15 and 23. That's when I understood that she doesn't want the box for her kids, but to sell them. Now I face a dilemma. I can give her the box and let her win, or don't, and she's going to be a pain in the butt later. She's the president of an HOA, and I have no choice, so I choose the first option, give the box to her son, ask why he wanted it, and apparently it's for a collection. And I come home fuming a bit and feeling defeated. And then I saw a post on the convo from a lady that I know and that says that her church is looking for toys for children in need. So I wrote, "Sorry, the Karen family took the whole box for her kids' collection, but I'm really sure that she can give a few to such a good association." Karen then posted a really salty message saying that of course she will and blah blah blah. But her pettiness and BS excuses were showed to the public, so I feel much better about the whole case. I stood up to my HOA manager when he tried to do me dirty. Find out how by clicking on the video on the screen. You don't want to miss it, and I will see you there.